So I've been in a creative rut recently, which is why I decided to post music content daily for 30 days straight. At first, I thought it was just gonna be something I would just get over with, but then I ended up learning so much. So in this video, I will share with you what I learned and why I think you should do it too. And not only that, I will tell you how to get more out of this challenge than I did using a certain concept. This concept is very closely related to the concept of diminishing returns, but it's on the opposite side. And I don't hear enough people talk about it, so stay tuned and I'll tell you what it is. But how did this all start? Anyone who knows me knows that I like to be efficient, which is a very nice way to say that I'm too goddamn lazy to do something unless I really have to or if I can clearly see the value in doing it. Which in this case, I don't really have to do it and I couldn't really tell the value of doing this at the beginning. But then I came across this Instagram reel.
Hello everyone, Happy New Year. I don't know about all of you, but I am so pumped to make 2024 a great year. 2023 for me was a year full of refinement and growth and rediscovery of a lot of things that I really love. And so for 2024, I want to start things off on a strong note by doing something that I'm calling Jamuary. So for January, what I want to do is every single day of January, I want to put out one video. And that's something creative, probably something musical for the most part. And that means a YouTube short or Instagram reel or a YouTube video or participating in someone else's. And so I really want to do this because I really want to de-emphasize the sort of completionism and perfectionism that we have in music. And I want to be more comfortable just sharing the things I make with other people, even if they're not as refined as I would like them to be.
That was Dan. He and I, and actually a bunch of musicians across the globe, are working on a project together, but I will make a separate video on that later. Now, anyone who took a look at my channel can see that I have zero consistency in posting, and that's not because I'm out of idea. I have a few, but as much as I hate to admit it, I'm too much of a perfectionist. All those ideas I have, yeah, at first I would think they're great and funny and all that, but then when I start working on it, I'd laugh at it thinking it's dumb or stupid or just not good enough. So when I saw Dan's video, I thought, why don't I just do the same thing but with music that I like? Dan, you're a freaking genius. Nevertheless, my January training arc begins. So what, Hatsu? Do you just turn off your perfectionism to do these daily posts? No, unfortunately that side of me is still there. I can't just flip it off like a switch. So then the issue is there's no way I can churn out the quality of content that side of me is going to be satisfied with in a single day. It just doesn't happen. But rejoice, my fellow creatives who are inflicted with perfectionitis. There is yet hope for us. What ended up happening was that I divert the energy that would normally go into the quality into making sure that I post every single day. To be honest though, the side of me that is obsessed with making stuff quote-unquote good is still there. But since the very strict criteria of daily posting is in place, the side of me that wants to sleep kinda wins out. Ain't no way I'm staying up all night just to make it ever so slightly better. But I did lose a substantial amount of sleep over 2 posts because they came out of pure inspiration, which I did not expect. The first one? Here's where that came from. Bro, the Japanese kids are eating good with the alphabet songs, what the hell? Why isn't our song this good? Anyways, if they're gonna put a whole ass J-pop chord progression for the alphabet song, I might as well just go another step and put jazz chords in there. Now normally I don't sing because Hatsu sing bad. But that's the whole point of this challenge. We ain't judging here, boys. It's very important to not let your ego stop you from trying out a new idea, even if you're gonna suck at it at first. Luckily, however, my vocals somehow came out just barely good enough that my best friend Melodyne can nudge it a little, and it somehow became a banger. I mean, okay, there was a bad example of my vocals too, like this one. I almost didn't post today. It was supposed to sound like this. Could have kept it simple, but no. Hatsu wanted jazz chords. Not even Melodyne could fix the British accent. That was terrible. And do you want to know the secret to making background vocals sound good? Just have a bunch of them. I mean, listen to this. Individually, they sound terrible. horrible, horrific, disgusting. But when you put them all together, and the second post that I lost sleep over was this one. So I remember distinctly on that day I was just gonna post another low effort idea that I had, but then I saw this Eula fan animation, and I dropped everything to make my own cover of Eula's theme. I don't even know what happened. I guess whoever did the music for that was just really good, or maybe I just really liked Eula theme, but I just got inspired. Now normally if I wasn't doing this with January, I would have like a whole big orchestra and like this massive sound with all these different instruments, but that's not happening in one day. Even so, I'm happy with the results, even if I committed the greatest sin any bass player could commit. But hey, at least I threw it away when I played the Spain lick. I don't know why, but I keep hearing this after Eula's theme. So we have Flickering Candlelight and Spain, which is why I call this Flickering Pain, because pain was what I felt when I finally finished recording and it was 4 a.m. By the way, I'm not gonna go through every post. You can check my Instagram if you want to see all 30 of them. It wasn't all sunshines and rainbows though. I ran into a lot of trouble during this challenge. The first big one was when I tried to record my melodica. So you have an instrument that is designed to sound good and project to an audience that is some distance away from the player. With me so far? Good. What that basically means is that when you're the one playing the instrument, aka right next to it, it's fucking loud! Okay Hasu, so it's a little bit louder than normal. Well, what's the issue? You can't hear the backing track in your headphone. You can't hear it. How are you supposed to play in time when the instrument you're playing is louder than the backing track you're playing to? Okay, Hatsu, it's fine. If you can't change the volume of the instrument, why don't you just change the volume of the headphone? You just speed ran hearing loss. Congratulations. Okay, you know what? At least you're on the right track. Like, something has to happen with the volume of the melodica and the volume of the headphone. Like, they need to balance out somehow and not pass the threshold that would leave you deaf. So my solution to this was you take these cute little pluggies here, you plug them in your ears. Okay, now literally all the sound in the world is approaching your ears at a lower volume, significantly, including the melodica. Awesome. With your newfound ear protection, you can now turn up the volume of your headphone without going deaf. Woo! Mission accomplished. Okay, so of course everything is gonna sound a little weird with earplugs in, but you only need to hear 3 things: yourself, and the time and harmonic content of the backing track. You don't need pristine hi-fi audio when you're tracking. But this begs a question: how the hell do trumpet players record? Brass instruments are so loud, like do they just do the same thing I did? That's something to think about. But yeah, now I have newfound respect for people who record with instruments like this. It's a hassle. Yeah, you see those keyboards and guitar player with their gain knob that they can just adjust to whatever comfortable volume they like? Where's my gain knob, huh? Where is it? Where? But there's yet one mystery that remains unsolved. What is on my ceiling? Is there anything up there? Something so intriguing that index finger couldn't help but point at? Tune into the next episode of... So a lot of creatives will tell you that when an idea pops into your head, you gotta drop everything you're doing. You could be eating, you could be at war, you could be having sex, but you have to go and record that idea in some form, like either humming into your iPhone or notate it down. Because no matter how good you think your memory is, your measly 2 brain cells does not have the capacity to remember that idea, and it's gonna disappear in a flash. And I'm proud to say that I understood that very early on. No matter what, no matter when, if I have an idea that just pops into my head, I make sure I get it recorded. Even if I was having
dinner.
But then there's an extra hidden step that those people don't tell you about. Like they were just expecting you to already know it. Listen carefully, alright? I wish somebody told me this earlier. You know all those files that are sitting in your ideas folder? Well, you're supposed to turn them into a song at some point instead of letting them sit there for years. Okay, I'll admit, some of these song ideas have been sitting there for a bit longer than I'd like to say. Yeah, guys, make sure you come back to your song ideas and then make something out of it instead of just never touching them again. That's no good. But I suspect there's an underlying reason why I left these guys hanging out to dry for so long. In the past, when I was just starting to make music, I knew nothing. Nothing of what makes music good, nothing of the slow and painful process, nothing of the dreadful writer's block where you smash your face against the wall and you still don't know how to write the next part of your song. Nothing of mixing or mastering or any other technical skills. I just wanted to make cool music like what I heard from video games, anime, movies, bands, but eventually I learned of a standard that I considered good music and beat myself up just to meet those standards. I learned of the technical skills and now I spend an ungodly amount of time on minor things like how I should EQ or compress this or that. I learned of writer's block and the slow and painful process after the initial honeymoon period of starting a new song. Or more correctly, I experienced it. And even though I love the idea of making music and I know I have the skills to put out a banger, I don't for the longest time. And that's probably due to my brain unconsciously being afraid of the process because it's not gonna be fun. Realizing that now, that is absolutely fucking pathetic. I decided a long time ago that no matter what I do, music was always going to be part of my life. So I spent all those time studying music, studying theory, even went to music school for a little bit and then before realizing it was a load of bullshit and quit. But all that time that I put in and now, this is the state I'm in? Seriously? So I'm not calling people who quit music or decide that music is not for them and just do music casually pathetic. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. But for someone like me who made that decision and can't even finish a song in a reasonable amount of time. Yeah, you know, maybe I'm being too hard on myself, but if I keep thinking like that, I'll probably never finish a song ever again, so... I wanted to change that, which was why I finally got to work on some of those ideas as part of my January training arc. In fact, I dedicated the final 6 days to finishing a piano sketch of a song. Not fully produced or anything like that, just a finished sketch. That's all I had to do. I had a really good initial idea. But after that, I had no spark nor inspiration. It was slow, it was painful. I smashed my head against the wall trying to move forward, but I kept at it daily. The kicker, I almost finished the sketch, but then I realized half of it really works by itself, but it doesn't really work with the initial idea. So I had to scrap it and start over. So that scrap idea was shelved as a new idea and came back to square one. But a procrastinator's greatest skill awakens the closer danger approach, the deadline danger. And on the final day, Believe it or not, that's 100% of the song structure. All I have to do now is add in the instruments and copy and paste the section around. I don't have to come up with anything new. So we've reached the 30th day, the final day. Did I cure my perfectionitis? Of course not. I don't think I can get rid of it completely, and to a certain degree, I think it needs to be there. Because if it's completely gone, then all of my posts would be shit posts. But despite it still being there, I was still able to make stuff and post it for 30 days. Upon completing this training arc, I think I found a better balance between wanting things to be good and just finishing it. My suffocatingly high standards have gone down a little bit, and I think I'll have an easier time posting from now on. At least hopefully, we'll see in the coming weeks. But that's a mindset thing. There's actually a lot of tangible things that I gained over those 30 days, and here's a rundown of all of them. A new Instagram account. From now on, if I have a low effort idea that I think aren't good enough for YouTube, then I'm just gonna post it here. So feel free to follow for the classic shit posting. Try to say that 5 times fast. I've got a new template for vertical video in DaVinci Resolve. I got a new effect change for vocals and background vocals, an effect change for melodica, and I learned something new about tonguing techniques. You know, back in high school, I was in band and I was a percussionist, and I've always hear these band director talking to the trumpet or the wind section about tonguing technique. And at the time, I thought that meant just smacking your tongue against the mouthpiece, just like slobbering all over it, just to make a specific sound. I thought that was fucking gross, but you know what? It's a means to an end, you know? They chose their path. I'm a percussionist, I don't have to worry about that. And now that I've learned it, it is indeed gross. That's why that's not actually how you do it. The real way you do it is to interrupt the air by making the sound t. So you have a constant stream of air and you interrupt it by doing something like see, that's how you make this staccato sound, by interrupting the air. That is 100 times less disgusting than smacking your tongue against a mouthpiece. I discovered how to do modular templates in Studio One. I think some other DAWs can do this, but I only use Studio One, so that's all I know. This is so useful that I will make a separate video on this later, but in short, it's basically a bunch of smaller templates that speed up your workflow, kind of negating some of the problems that a big template might have. I found out about these 2 sick MIDI visualizers. Now I don't have to worry about not having a visual element to go along with my music. I've got 1 completed song sketch and 1 new song idea, and maybe a little bit of confidence and discipline. And that's about everything I got out of this whole training arc. Not bad if I do say so myself, but as Edward Elric had to learn the law of equivalent exchange the hard way, so did I. All of these things that I've gained came at a price, and it was my sleep. Yeah, now that I look at it like this, I don't even know if it was worth it. But to tell you the truth, I could have gained even more from this if only I had tackled it a little bit differently. Based on my results, I highly encourage you to start your own January training arc. But before you start, I want to show you the mistakes that I made and how you can get even more out of it than I did. Okay, so I have a confession to make. I really wanted to post this video by the end of this week, but the script became like 5 pages long, single-spaced, and that's about only half of what I wanted to talk about. So you're just gonna have to wait until next week for part 2, or just click here if you're watching in the future.